Before we start, if you have a cell phone, would you please turn it to silent or off. To this sacred place we come, drawn by the eternal ties that bind our soul to yours. Death has separated us. You are no longer at our side to share the beauty of the passing moment. We cannot look to you to lighten our burdens, to lend us your strength, your counsel, your faith. And yet what you mean to us neither withers nor fades. For at times we touched hands and hearts. Still your voice abides within us. Still your tender glance remains a joy to us. For you are part of us forever. Something of you has become a deathless song upon our lips. So beyond the ache that tells how much we miss you, deeper thought compels. We were together. We hold you still in our minds and give thanks for life and love, the happiness that was, the memories that do not fade, are a gift that cannot be lost. You continue to bless our days and years. We will always give thanks to you. The Wanderer's Prayer. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer le'olam, achol v'hayam, rishu shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tefillat adam, hachol v'hayam, rishu shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tefillat adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. The poet Bialik wrote, after my death mourn me thus. There was a young man, see he is no more. Before his time, his life was ended. The song of his life was broken. Oh, he had one more melody. And now that melody is lost forever. Lost forever. From the book of Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season. A time for every experience under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted. A time to tear down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to grieve and a time to dance. A time to throw stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to discard. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. There is no greater honor in our tradition than to speak on behalf of a loved one. At this time, I invite Jacob's friends, his high school friends, please come up and share words.
I just wanted to share some memories of Jacob that I have. I could probably fill a full-length novel of memories that we've shared over the years, but I'm just going to mention some of my favorites. World Film, We were in the same world film class, and he always had a different opinion of all the movies in the rest of the class. And the entire class hated the movie that seemed to be the one he loved, vice versa. We always made an inside joke about every movie, and I loved hearing a new one after every class. In 8th grade, Jacob never had the teacher, Dr. Lang, but she was one of, if not his favorite teacher in the whole school. He got very involved with her class somehow. And me and Jacob would always poke fun at each other as the baseball team affiliation. I always told him that he can't like both the Red Sox and the Yankees, but he said, watch me. Something so simple, but I care a lot about sports and he knew it too. Over the years, me and Jacob shared some incredible memories that I will never forget for as long as I live. And I have so much evidence of the wonderful life that he lived, safe with me. And I know that we will meet again someday.
I got to know Jacob in middle school. We were on the same bus there and back, and he made the bus ride the most enjoyable part of the school day. We'd play games on his computer there and back, and because of one of them, I actually made the club that he got to get to know Dr. Lang in, which it was a joke. But it became a real thing. During lunch, we'd play Exploding Kittens. And no matter how hard I tried, I could not beat him. It was never a dull day with him. He was great at Mario games. We managed to beat the hardest level in 3D World, even if it took 300 lives to do it. I always thought of him as a leader. He was able to bring a large group of his friends together, and we played like a huge game of Pokemon. I think he always had his friends in mind, and he was very observant. One time he had told me that he noticed I was starting to hesitate less and stutter less when I spoke, and I really appreciated that because you don't really see many friends telling you how much you've grown. And he never said that there was anything wrong before that he mentioned how I had to grow. And even as we drifted apart in high school, as I started to join a different group of friends, he still cared enough to invite me to things, and I really appreciated that. That's it.
Everyone really knew that Jacob was such an amazing guy. I mean, when I first met him, I kind of thought he was a bit crazy. We were at Grove Day Camp for our first years, and neither of us really had any friends. I saw him at the top of the slides, and he said to me point blank, "This one's called the Pharaoh," and he crosses his arms like this, and he goes down the water slide. At the time, I thought this guy was nuts, and I didn't know it, but I just met my best friends. We had a lot of amazing times together, from mini golf near his house and late nights watching this kids show, Larva New York, which is this super fast-paced show, hilarious for us since we're just absolute goofballs. With me and Tanner, I remember Jacob's mom generously took us to Kalahari along with others for a weekend trip. There was this one machine, and I got the monster drop jackpot, which basically means that you get a bajillion tickets. And we got a Pikachu plush for him, which was about this big, as tall as I am, before it got hit by like a flood, along with other items of his. One time randomly, I asked if I could crash his place for 4 days because I didn't want to go to a college tour that my sister and my parents were doing. Surprisingly, he said yes, and we did a lot of super fun things together. His mom driving us literally everywhere. We had a lot of future plans together. With TJ, him and I, we wanted to go to Cedar Point or Carowinds, which are two super far amusement parks, making it a 7-day trip for the three of us. I will never forget Jacob. He was my first ever best friend.
TJ, thank you.
From Psalm 121. Esainai el Harim me'ayin yavo Esri me'im Adonai Osei Shamayim Baretz. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and coming, now and forever. Our angels spend much of their time sleeping. In their dreams, they tear down the new houses by the sea and build old ones in their place. No matter how long they may sleep, 100, 200 years, 10 centuries is not too much. The first to wake up takes the torch that has been handed down, adds a drop of oil to the lamp, and blesses the eternal light, and then recalls the name of every other angel. One by one, as they are remembered, they wake up. For them, as for us, there is nothing more beautiful than memory. At this time, I call upon Jacob's best friend, Austin, from Northeastern, and other friends from Northeastern.
Compared to many of you, I knew Jacob for a very short period of time. That period, to me, felt like a lifetime. Our first interaction was in July, right before we went to Dublin, when Jacob reached out to me to say, "Hey, you seem cool." He was the only other one who ever spoke in this group chat I had created for all of the Dublin kids that were going on the NUN program. So to have him reach out personally to me to say that I seemed cool, that I took that to be the highest honor I could receive. I didn't think about it a ton, but looking back, he was the only one who would ever reach out to me personally about things. A few weeks after Ireland, I arrived in Boston, and I was walking into my dorm for the first time, and I see someone waving at me from behind the window, and I had no idea who it was, to tell you the truth. And suddenly, the door slams open, and out comes Jacob, and he's like, "Austin, I have a friend living here now." And I was like so shocked in that moment to see him that I almost didn't respond. Steadily after that moment, he would invite me down to his apartment, and we would start watching things. We would watch various animes, various YouTube videos he wanted to show me. We'd play games like Jackbox that he would constantly be better at me than. And one day he asked if I wanted to watch One Piece with him. Now, if you know me, I I don't watch more than 10 episodes of any TV show. So to get me to watch a show that has 1,105 episodes, he was a miracle worker, frankly. I don't know how he got me to do that. But whether it was making time to go to London with me to see an NFL game, something he wasn't even interested in, or the endless inside jokes he would make surrounding myself and many of my friends up here with me today, and not only getting me to watch that show, but rewatching most of it with me. He was a kind soul. And whether I personally know you or not in this room, I know for a fact that Jacob had that same impact on you. And his impact will continue to be important for the rest of my life, and likely many of your lives. On many of his social medias, he had a quote from that show that we watched. People only die when they're forgotten. In that case, I don't think he will ever truly die. As much as he never fully embraced his Jewish tradition around me, I would like to conclude this by saying, may his memory be a blessing, and that I will always miss him.
I know that we have a long day ahead of us, so I will keep this brief. I would like to read off the journal entry, or a portion of it, that I wrote on the day that I heard of his passing. Saturday, June 1st, 2024. I suppose today is as good a day as any to start this journal. I had meant to start journaling all year. Freshman year of college is something to be remembered. After all, days, weeks, months went by and I put it off. But that ends today because I wish I had those memories now more than ever. Jacob Davis, one of my first college friends, has been killed in a car accident. I've suddenly lost all my words. When I was told, I thought it was a joke. I don't know if that was denial or just knowing Austin too well. I asked him personally if it was a joke, and he called me sobbing. Jacob's mom had told him. It's a little stream of consciousness. I apologize. I feel as though I should write a eulogy, but at the same time, how do you even do that? How do you take a life and put it on a page? I feel that these questions are for an old man, not a 19-year-old me. But alas, my family is at my little brother's Little League game. I don't want to ruin it for him. As I'm writing this, my dad called me and I burst into tears. He's on his way now. I feel like I should go to the funeral, but I don't know where or when it is, or if I'd be invited. There's so many things I don't know. I know I miss him. I know he's somewhere better. I know I had missed out on time with him because I was busy with work or other friends and my girlfriend. I know I regret all of it. I know that he'd forgive me. Thank you, Jacob.
I don't think I'll take up much time on it, but yeah. Jacob was one of the first people I met in Dublin. One of the first people I really got to know and call a friend. Most of my first interactions with him started with me dropping into his life, literally from like 10 feet up. There was a tree. Our dorms were right next to each other. There was a tree outside them, and I quickly figured out you could get into it pretty easily. So I just hang out a lot of the time, and I would make my presence known to him in stylish fashion. Every time, every time. He was an amazing man. I got to know him well. I wish I got to know him better. I wish I got to spend more time with him. We made a lot of good memories together. I'll cherish them forever. I'm sorry, bro. Cheers.
I'll keep this short. I noticed, sorry, I didn't catch your name, but the theme of your, in the back there, the theme of your speech was that Jacob made you feel like his best friend. And how many other people here have felt like Jacob's best friend? That was just the kind of person Jacob was. Because I know I was his best friend, Austin was his best friend, we were all his best friends. And being shipped half a world away, knowing no one, just board a plane, arrive in Dublin, and figure it out. He was an incredible person to have around. I remember over the course of the first couple weeks, as by pure coincidence, all the friends were some variation of the name Jake, except for me. And so I remember, as like getting together with the Jakes would become more and more often, and we just became better and better friends. It just made it an incredible experience, getting to know him and getting to see a slice of the world with him. Thank you.
I didn't have the privilege of knowing Jacob the first semester in Dublin, like a lot of the people behind me, but for the period of time I did know him, God, what an incredible friend. The first time I met him, I met him through Austin actually, which, you know, anyone who knows him, that's not a huge surprise. He immediately struck me as like a person who truly, deeply listens to everything you say and takes you seriously. My word. Yeah, he's not one for he wasn't one for platitudes. He hears you, he challenges you.
Oh yeah.
He addresses you as an intellectual.
Oh my God, we just got everything.
Every goddamn thing.
Beyond that, just like what a nice person. He was always willing to share his interests and like talk about yours as well. And just I know that like for everyone he was close to, he was willing to engage with them just about anything because he just valued being there above everything. I wish I had more time.
Thank you.
I first met Jacob in our semester in Dublin, more specifically when I went with him and Austin and a couple of our other friends out to London to go see that NFL game. During that time, he was such an interesting person to talk to. We would engage in various different topics surrounding Japan. Now, they would often overlap a bit more with my interest since his interest was just Japan as a whole. But like we would talk about the language itself or the trains there. And those discussions that we had, especially surrounding the language, are things I'm going to think about forever. And I will most certainly remember Jacob forever.
So out of everyone here, up here, I actually knew Jacob the least amount of time. I was just sitting eating dinner along the IB, and him and Austin came up to me and just said, "Come sit with us." And that was the day that he added me to their group chat, and I became friends with everyone up here, and I'll forever be grateful for that moment, because I have a huge support system behind me right now. I wish that I could have met him sooner, because I went to Dublin, I went to the orientation, but I never got to know him until that day, and I forever cherish that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. This was
From the wisdom of Solomon, a good person, though taken from us too soon, will rest in peace. For honor in old age does not come from length of life. Honor in old age does not come from length of years. Understanding is the gray hair of humanity. A blameless life is ripeness of age. Perfection in limited years is like living for many years. So a good person, though taken from us too soon, will rest in peace. Let us then, with peace of mind, let that good soul rest. The 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God maketh me to lie down in green pastures. God leadeth me beside the still waters. God restoreth my soul. God restoreth my soul. God guideth me in straight paths for God's name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. At this time, Jacob's Aunt Susan and Uncle Tony.
I want to thank you all for being here. It's painful to be here, but I thank you for honoring his memory and coming, most of you, from such a distance. And there's something I have to show you, visual, only because Daddy, early in the morning, Saturday, when we were at home, bawling her eyes out, said to me, she said, Jacob was going to Japan, and we knew that in 2 weeks, and 3 weeks. And he loves Japanese Eastern culture. And I've been growing bonsai for 40 some odd years. He knew that. We worked on bonsai trees together. I walked into the woods yesterday afternoon, and I dug this out. I'm going to show you why. Now, this is not because it's a pretty plant, but it has symbolism. Symbolism is that what you can't see in the pot is the foundation and the strength of any family, of any person, right? The roots control everything, give life to the rest of the plant, but you can't see it. But Jacob had a full foundation, full root system in his life and his family. And what happens is that strength from the roots comes out and creates beauty, which are flowers and these very light leaves. That's what we all see. But what we don't think about is that this trunk and this stem continue to grow and grow and grow. That was Jacob. That's the dark secret in this. You don't understand until you see it, that this will continue to grow. And Jacob would have brought this thing through the window where we've been so long with his life and his experience. So in his honor, I hope that we help take care of this. And I wish all of you the best, and thank you for coming.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jacob's aunt Susie. I think most of you know that. Daddy, I love you. We have to keep breathing. So on September 29th, 2005, my beautiful sister Debbie brought a beautiful boy into this world, and Jacob completed our family. He was a kind, smart, curious child, always wanting to help out. Our home, he would follow his Uncle Tony around asking about their next project. So we bought him a miniature tool set and put him to work. Jacob grew to be a very kind, considerate, and compassionate, very smart and intuitive young man, and always very protective of you, Deb. Jacob had a love of animals, especially their cats, Cookie, Kirby, Jack, and Red, and he helped Deb foster many others over the years, even helping to feed and protect local feral cats. Jacob was shy, but confident, and as is always in court, Jacob was a terrific dancer. A hidden talent revealed only a few years ago at a family wedding. And while born in Pennsylvania, Jacob was raised in New Jersey with a few grammar school years in Manhattan. As a typical Jersey boy, he loved going to Jenkinson's on the Point Pleasant Boardwalk and won more tickets and thus utterly fantastic prizes that Deb knew what to do with. He loved games and online gaming, right? And developed international friendships at a young age. He was a true friend and started traveling to conferences to meet the other kids in person. Some became very close friends, like you, Ellie. Jacob, of course, had many wonderful friends from school, camp, and college, and we were fortunate to have heard and to see you guys today. Thank you for coming, and thank you for all those memories. Jacob excelled in school, graduating Livingston High School with honors. And when he had toured colleges, he immediately loved Northeastern University and was accepted early decision. He knew he didn't need to apply anywhere else. He was planning to become a neuroscientist or physician to better understand human behavior, and help cure dementia. Jacob loved to cook, travel, he studied Italian. He loved to see new places and meet new people and had developed a true love of Japanese culture. And last summer, Debbie's graduation gift to Jacob was a 2-week tour in Japan. Jacob started teaching himself Japanese. Of course, learning a few choice phrases, and could hold a basic conversation by the time he was on the plane to Tokyo. But that plane never took off because of those freak storms we had last year that closed the airports for days. While Jacob couldn't join the tour and had to come home, Deb, as always, didn't miss a beat. And a few weeks later, Jacob was on a 3-week tour of Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand. Now, I had mentioned that Jacob was attending Northeastern University and loved to travel. And in the fall, he took his very first semester, like you guys, abroad at the Northeastern program at University College in Dublin in Ireland. And my friend Katie and I were lucky enough to go visit him there. It was an amazing, amazing time. So Jacob was developing a bit of wanderlust that probably came from you, Mom, in travel. And he traveled to various places in Ireland and to London with you guys, Paris, and even Faro, Portugal. He returned his spring semester at Northeastern University main campus in Boston, excelling at his classes. He even earned a hug from his organic chemistry professor. Who does that? Only Jacob, only your Jacob. He enjoyed college social life, city life in Boston. I knew he'd be a city boy. His passion for Japan never waned, and he was accepted to study at Northeastern University's summer program in Tokyo. So he and Deb were leaving for Japan in 3 weeks, for a week touring together until Jake started his semester. Instead, today we're here. We shouldn't be here as much as we all love seeing all of you. We just should not be here. For my beautiful nephew, my Jacob, my heart swells with every beat, with love and pride. But all you are, all you accomplished in your young life, all you taught me, and how you touched our family, your grandma, grandpa, Uncle Mike, Aunt Lori, Uncle Tony, Kylie, Alex, nephew, and Robbie, and how he touched in some very sweet way every person in this room and so many beyond. Tim, we're strong. We're strong to honor your Jacob. And we keep Jacob with us in our lives forever. Jacob, we love you. Ti amiamo tanto bene. Ishitamasu. Thank you.
He is gone. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back. Or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him. You can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday. Or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he is gone. Or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty, and turn your back. Or you can do what Jacob would want. Open your eyes, love, and go on. At this time, Jacob's mom, Debbie, is going to speak.
I look around this room and I'm so blessed that every one of you have the opportunity to know my son. And I always used to say, if you're gonna have one, make it a good one. And I used to tell him, you know, one day you're gonna get the stuff off the high shelves for me. And I would call him my little man, and he would call me his little mom. Thank goodness he got the hype from my dad. He is my everything. And I only ask that you remember him well. And I hope that you can celebrate him for the rest of your lives, because that's what he would want you to do.
And the child asked, "Tell me of life." And the sage answered, "Life, my child, is a mystery. We do not ask to be born, nor do we even understand the meaning of birth, of creation. We grow and we experience life's pleasures and pains. We love, and slowly, oh so slowly, we come to realize that what we have become, that we are. At that moment, we humble ourselves before the mystery of life and quiet quietly say, though I knew not, I have been granted the most precious gift of all, the gift of life. And the child asked, tell me of death. And the sage answered, death, my child, is a mystery. It is the inevitable return of the gift of life, the gift which came free to us. We live as a trustee of that mysterious being, of that unexplainable becoming. Yes, you and I are but the trustees of life. We nurture it. We delight in it. We give of it to others. And at the appointed time, we sadly, yet with pride, return it from whence it came. The beauty, my child, is that what we are, what we have become, remains long after the gift has been returned. It remains as a precious keepsake with our loved ones who live on. After listening to everyone who spoke so eloquently and beautifully, torn hearts, there are no words for me to say, only because of this horrible, horrific tragedy. Jacob had so much to live for, had so much to offer. And on the other hand, we have heard how much he was offering to everyone in that brief time that he was with us. He was a prince of a person. He was an amazing, amazing young man. He taught himself Japanese, but most importantly, he just was a real great, wonderful, as I look at that smile, someone might say it's a smirk, someone might say it's whatever it is, it's Jacob. I mean, the very first time I saw Jacob was at his naming, when I gave him a Hebrew name. Deborah has said to me, and I say Deborah with the love, you were there with us to bring him properly his Hebrew name, and now you are here with us to say goodbye. But it's not goodbye because Jacob, in every memory that we will cherish for the rest of our lives, will be with us. As you look up into the sky, see a rainbow, think of Jacob. As you see the stars up in heaven, think of Jacob. Think of Japan, think of Jacob. When you think of food, cooking, think of Jacob. When you think of incredible memories that you've experienced, whether it was Dublin, whether it was in Boston, whether it was at Northeastern, whether it was in Livingston, whether it was just to meet him briefly, you know you were in the presence of someone very special, and he in turn made you feel so very special. That is a gift. That is something that I wish we had more people in this world to give. If there were more people like Jacob in this world would be kinder. This world would be better. This world would just be a better place overall. Maybe up above, Jacob will continue. But how do we continue? By doing the acts that Jacob continued while he was here. In Judaism, we call it tikkun olam, to do acts of love and kindness. So, as the family has requested, in lieu of flowers, make donations, if you will, to the Alzheimer's Association, the Mayo Clinic, the 11th Hour Rescue. Do acts of loving kindness that make this world just a little bit better. That's a way of continuing the love and the work of Jacob. He loved his family so much. I named him at Grandma and Grandpa's house, Janice Stevens' house in Manalapan. It was a special, beautiful day. Debbie, my heart goes out to you and John, you picked him up from Northeastern just a few weeks ago. You shared how wonderful it was to be with him on the car ride coming back. But Debbie, you've had him all your life, and you've shared. And I know how someone said something and you gave a little, I don't know how I can say this without getting myself politically correct. And I don't want to do that. But it was only a Debbie way, like, but I'm going to say the wrong thing. So let me just say, like, we're all using the adjectives and saying how Jacob was a positive person. But for Debbie, maybe not 100% positive. Maybe there were moments of being that mommy and son. But those are moments. And those are things that we're not going to worry about. Because the love, the devotion that you had for each other will always be there. Remember that. Will always, always be there. Cousins experienced wonderful memories, to aunts and uncles, but most importantly also to the friends. Some say blood is thicker than water. Some say you can have family, but your friends mean so much. In Jacob's case, it was family and friends. I don't think one was more important than the other because he loved all of you. He loved being with anybody, as you heard. That, again, is a gift. Jacob Davis, son, grandson, nephew, cousin, and friend was a gift from God. Zikrono livracha. May Jacob's memory always be. Thank you, Austin, for saying this. A blessing. And let us say together, Amen. I'd like to end my words with words from a very special person. Her name was Chana Senish. In the Hebrew, it speaks of Yesh Kochavim, stars that are up in heaven. And when you look up into the sky at night and see the brightness of the stars, please think of the brightness of the light, of the love, of the devotion that Jacob gave to each one of us. And then truly, his memory and his legacy will live on in our hearts and minds forever. Yesh kochavim sha'oram magia artsa, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. יש אנשים שזיו זכרם מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינם. עוד בתוכנו, אורות אלו המבהיקים, בחשכת הליל, הם שמרים לאדם. את הדרך, הם שמרים לאדם, את הדרך. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Heim shamarim la'adam, et haderech. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Let us pause in silence at this time And let each of us in our hearts and minds remember how Jacob was a part of our lives. Following the service, you are all cordially invited to the firehouse in Chester, 86 Main Street. Please go to the back of the firehouse and go upstairs to Hoffman Hall. And Shiva will be observed at Debbie Davis and John Mansfield's residence, 8 Rieger Road in Flanders, New Jersey, tomorrow from 6 to 8. Parking is limited, so please carpool if possible. However, if the driveway is full, you can park next door at 6 Rieger Road. At this time, I ask you all to please rise if you are able for the Almighty prayer, which will be then followed by the Kaddish prayer. El Malei Shochein Barohim Hamitzeh Menucha Nechona Achat Hanfei Hashchinaim Throshim Utohorim Zohar Harakia Mazirim Et Nishma Yaakov Ben Rivka Shagacha Liolamo Al Harachamim Yastirehu B'Sefer Knofam Leolamim Yitzror B'Tzero HaChayim Et Nishmato Adonai Honachalato Yenuach B'Shalom Al Mishkavo V'Nomar Amen. May the source of life, the fountain of all being, open our hearts to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace and sadness the way of all things. May Jacob's memory be for us a blessing, and may we never let the light of his love grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all his worthy and righteous deeds, that his memory be forever bound up in the bond of life. God is our source and our destination, our beginning and our end. May Jacob's death awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared and share not be severed in sorrow. May he rest in peace, and together we say, Amen. Let us be thankful for the companionship that continues in a love stronger than death. Sanctifying the name of God, we honor the memory of Jacob, as we, as a loving family and community, sanctify God's name as we recite the Kaddish prayer. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ha'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah ve'barach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha v'richut le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata na'amiran v'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn, to comfort all the bereaved among us, as we say together, Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. allow at this time the immediate family to proceed first, leading the chapel, and then please follow back to your cars.